Americans are making money, working full time, even picking up side jobs, and it's still not enough to afford the life that they're living. Rent is up, groceries are up, insurance, everything. But paychecks didn't keep up. It's gotten to a point where people aren't just struggling anymore, they're having to change how they live. And in the past, people were pretty quiet about their finances. They didn't let everybody know their situation. But now it's gotten so bad, and with the use of the internet, you have more and more people coming out and saying how they feel, saying what's really going on. Let's get into it.
Trigger warning, I'm going to crash out right now, and this is going to be a long video, but I feel like you could relate to this, so here we go. It's great living in America, unless you're a fucking American. If you're a bank, though, you are thriving, while the rest of us are just trying to fucking survive. I just came across a video saying that banks are at an all-time high. Like, their expectations have blown through the roof of what their profit margins were going to be. You want to know why? They are thriving because America is starving to live. At least 95% of Americans right now are literally surviving off credit cards, off loans in general. And banks are eating that shit up over the high interest rates. We're fighting for our lives over here. You want to know what the American dream is like? Let me tell you. Every day I wake up hoping today is the last day on earth. I'm tired of it here. The American household, on average, is $80,000 in debt. And that's just credit cards and like auto loans. Maybe even some student loans thrown in there. But that's not even including your mortgage. That's just credit card debt. And right now, banks are eating that interest rate up while we're all surviving. You mean to tell me that the average American goes to their mind-sucking job, works 8 to 12 hours to have everything deducted, have nothing left to live on, and we're forced to put food on the table by using credit cards? You go to college. You get yourself in hundreds of thousands of student loan debt. You are one of the 5% of college graduates to get your job in the field you got your degree in, right? You get everything garnished from your wages because the increase on living and everything around you has gone up, but your pay has stayed the same. But then you also get taxes taken out. We get taxed just to breathe, people. We get taxed on owning shit. We get taxed on working. We get taxed on just living, okay? Then you got health insurance. That's a joke and a whole video within itself. But basically, the average American pays anywhere between $300 and $1,000 a month for health insurance. Basically, you're paying just to say, I have health insurance. But then when you go to use health insurance, you have co-pays and deductibles, and they don't cover nothing until you've met your deductible. What do you mean? Why am I paying you $1,000 a month to have health insurance when I'm still paying more just to use it? I digress. Then you have everything like retirement, 401 taken out. Okay, great. You're going to work 30 to 40 years of your prime so that when you get to retirement age, we're going to give you monthly stipends back just so you can afford to live without a job. Meanwhile, like 80% of senior citizens that are retired now are working at Lowe's at the age of 87 because they can't survive just on their retirement. That's just a prime example. We're all struggling to keep our heads above water because we don't earn enough money after everything gets taken out. We are now forced to pay super high interest rates on everything we own. Even stuff that's paid off, we're still paying interest on. How does that make any sense? But you're sitting there, the American family, the average American family is no longer middle class. You're either poor or rich. The rich is making money off the poor because the poor can't afford to have two jobs, full-time jobs, and still be able to take care of their families and have enough money at the end of the day to put food on the table. Hence why we are forced to live on credit card debt. And y'all are just going to keep jacking up the prices that we're never going to be able to afford to pay off. Because unfortunately, Dave Ramsey, the average American person has nothing left after their paychecks come in and they pay their bills and they buy groceries. They have nothing left to save. So you're sitting there with $20 to your name for 2 weeks until the next penny. And that's if you're lucky. There's some people that are in the red right now. They are working their asses off and they can't even pay all their bills on time. And they're trying to decide, do you want to keep the light on this month or the water? No, living is just a luxury. I can't afford to put braces on my kids right now. That's a luxury. Going out to eat, that's a luxury.
I feel like the lack of money that people have now is really just starting to compound anxiety, depression, anger. They're short fuse. People are just getting, it's even worse to me this year than it was last year, but fuses are getting shorter. You see people that any kind of issue comes up, whether they're in a store, just anywhere, people are just automatically, they're getting the shakes, they're getting angrier faster. They had nobody. People are not having the amount of patience they used to have. It really comes down to emotional intelligence, and people are not able to manage this anymore. And I'm starting to see people break. I see people constantly all day, and it just seems like it's starting to just kind of compound. And I don't know where this is going to go. Bills are not getting cheaper. Nobody's getting paid more money. Matter of fact, companies out there are quietly reducing things like perks, benefits, bonuses. So in a way, you're actually making less money probably than you might have made in the last several years. And at the same time, everything just continues to go up. The aggregate numbers, I bet everything put together, you're probably almost double your expenses that you were before COVID. If you add up every single bill you have. I just don't know where this goes. People just people are not making eye contact with you out in public. Less and less people are smiling. People just seem on edge. They seem agitated. They're just in their own world. And it's like everybody's got their brain on a hyperactive thing, about stress, about money. And man, the lack of money is just going to break people. Money doesn't buy happiness, but money buys your peace. It buys options. It buys your ability to survive and to enjoy the things around you. And if you ain't got no money, well, everything else around you crumbles. And man, I don't know, man. But people are just getting less and less pleasant to be around, and they're just getting more agitated.
I am extremely frustrated being a full-time employed person living in Florida and not being able to afford to live. I have spent my whole day off trying to find a, more affordable place to live because I can't afford $1,300 a month in rent and then a $650 car note and then $300 in insurance and then you got utilities and it's either I eat or I pay my bills, and then even then it's like, okay, well, which bill is going to be late this month? And I'm so sick of it. I nor anybody else should be working 60 plus hours a week and not be able to live.
I just saw a video of a girl being like, how are we going to do this for the rest of our lives? And I just have to say, low-key, I feel like a lot of young people right now in the workforce, I see comments all the time that are like, I'm betting on the world to end. It's like, yeah, me too. Like, how up of a economy, of a society, of a country are we living in right now that your young people, your new to the workforce young people, are basically like, we basically have ideations because we don't want to do this forever. There's no reward for our work anymore. What's the reward? Oh, you get to go to sleep at night.
You know what? They keep saying that we're in the age of disclosure, and I think that they're right. But I think we also need to start disclosing something else, on a personal level. I think more people, especially Americans, need to start disclosing how much they are struggling financially. I made a video yesterday talking about how this is my first job that I've been able to land since November of last year. I'm not full-time. That job is not full-time. It is $19 an hour. It is 32 hours a week. My lease renewal, I've got my third notification about my lease renewal. I cannot afford to renew this lease, and I also can't afford to move, because if you move, what do you got to do? Deposit, admin fee, application fee, paying for the moving truck, taking time off of work, all this extra stuff that you have to pay for. I cannot afford to do either one. And a lot of people are in this position right now. A lot of people cannot find a job. And it's not because there's just a natural scarcity when it comes to job. It is a manufactured scarcity. They're not hiring anyone. They're cutting 90% of their workforce and getting the remaining 10% to do the work of the other 90%. While not increasing their pay. The cost of everything is going up, but everybody keeps reporting record profits. Nobody can afford to pay their workers a livable wage, but everybody has record profits. But you know who does get paid? The shareholders. who do absolutely nothing for the company. This is the state of the economy, right? Like, this is a reality. This is real.
Messed up how things have gotten in this country. We live in a country where 70% of the population doesn't have $1,000 in savings. Not credit cards, actual cash that they could put forward. Here's 1,000. 70% don't have that. Not only do they not have that, the average person is around $100,000 in debt. So why is everybody in debt? Well, maybe because the cost of everything has damn near doubled in the last 10 years. That could have a little something to do with it. Working full-time just isn't enough anymore unless you're having a very high-paying job, a doctor, a lawyer, something like that. But just working full-time at a factory making $19, $20, $21 an hour is not going to cut it for most cities in this country. Shoot, having a full-time and a part-time job isn't enough. You have people that are working multiple jobs and are sharing an apartment with 2, 3 other roommates. I think we're going to see in the upcoming months and years, people are going to become very frugal. Forget eating out, forget vacations. We're just going to be penny pinching anything we can. I think a lot more people with any type of backyard land are going to get into growing their own fruits, their vegetables, anything they can to save a little bit of money. Have you seen the price of gas? Like, everything is just going up so rapidly. Even my energy company for the electrical company, they just went up 5% on all of our bills here in Michigan 3 months ago. And now they're proposing another rate increase of 15% 3-4 months later. So they want to increase it 20-25% within a few months. Has your paycheck increased 25% in the last 3 months? And that's just one bill. What about food, gas, insurance, this, that, car payments, house, blah, blah, blah. Just so many things that are just taxes. Everything is just hitting from all sides. And we're supposed to make enough money to live normal and save. It's very hard nowadays. Let me know where you're watching from and what the situation is like where you live. Are jobs paying enough for the average person to get by, at least pay rent? I'm not even talking about own a home. Just pay their rent, be able to put some food in the fridge, and not go into massive amounts of debt. Share your guys' thoughts down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.